taking a graduated approach to meeting the needs of children and young people with SEND in Wolverhampton. What is a graduated approach? When a child or young person is identified as having special educational needs, the statutory guidance known as the SEND Code of Practice outlines that settings should implement a graduated response in order to meet the needs of those children and young people. The graduated response is not something concrete, but is the approach implemented by educational settings which involves having robust structures and processes in place to identify and understand the current needs of the child or young person and the targeted provision or support required to meet their needs. The SEND Code of Practice highlights that high quality teaching, differentiated for individual pupils, is the first step in responding to pupils who have or may have SEN. You can see from this visual that the base of the triangle represents the universal offer of support which is available to all children and young people within a setting. It is important that all staff understand and are familiar with the setting's universal offer of provision, often referred to as ordinarily available provision. The Wolverhampton Inclusive Schools for Everyone website, WISE, has further guidance on ordinarily available provision and how to ensure your school environment and culture is inclusive. The SEND Code of Practice stipulates that high quality teaching that is differentiated and personalised will meet the individual needs of the majority of children and young people. Some children and young people need educational provision that is additional to or different from this. Educational settings are required to use their best endeavours to implement targeted provision alongside their universal offer. This is referred to as SEND support. This makes up the middle part of our triangle and is often referred to as school-based targeted support because it is most likely to be delivered by staff within the school. In the SEND Pathway Targeted Support tab on the WISE website, you can find further guidance and a range of useful resources. This SEND support should take the form of a 4-part cycle through which earlier decisions and actions are revisited, refined and revised, with a growing understanding of the child or young person's needs and the support required to secure good outcomes. The child or young person and their family should be involved in all 4 stages of the assess, plan, do and review. This is sometimes referred to as APDR cycles. Assess. A child or young person's strengths and needs must be assessed so that the right support can be implemented. This involves discussions with the child or young person, their family and the school to ascertain their aspirations and needs, informed by school assessments and other information such as social care and health needs. For some children and young people, advice and further assessment may be sought from a specialist such as an educational psychologist, specialist teachers or a health professional. Plan. The school should work closely with the child or young person and their family to agree the targets or outcomes that the SEND support is intended to achieve. In other words, how the child or young person will benefit from any support they get. All those involved will need to have a say in deciding what kind of support and interventions will be provided and decide when this will be reviewed. Do. The setting should implement the support and interventions agreed during the planning stage of the cycle. This will ideally take place over a term or period of approximately 8 to 10 weeks to ensure the impact can be measured. Teachers must remain responsible for working with the child or young person on a daily basis and will be supported by the SENCO and any other specialists involved to monitor the progress. Review. On the agreed date, progress should be reviewed with the family, child or young person and all professionals involved. This is an opportunity for everyone to discuss if the support has had a positive impact, whether the outcomes have been or are being achieved, and if or how any changes should be made to inform the next cycle. By following this cycle of assess, plan, do and review, schools are implementing a graduated response to meeting the needs of children and young people with SEND. This allows them to draw on more detailed approaches, more frequent review, and more specialist expertise in successive cycles. Throughout a child or young person's school life, their needs will change and may require different levels of support at different stages. The Assess Plan Do Review cycle will be repeated as many times as needed to ensure the provision is right and the needs are being met. When the child or young person no longer requires provision that is additional to and different from what is ordinarily available, it should be considered that their needs can be met at a universal level. This means they will not need to be recorded as having special educational needs. It is important to note that if a child or young person is accessing targeted or specialist support, that they should continue to access the universal offer, which must include high quality teaching and any reasonable adjustments in accordance with the Equality Act. When a child or young person's needs can no longer be met through the specialist support available within the school's notional budget, then it may be agreed that a request for statutory assessment should be made to the local authority. An Education Health Care Needs Assessment will not always lead to an Education Health and Care Plan, often referred to as an EHCP. The information gathered during the EHC Needs Assessment may indicate ways in which the school can meet the child or young person's needs without an EHCP. In this instance, the child or young person will continue to access SEND support. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. For further information about the graduated approach, please refer to the WISE website, or for further support, please contact the SEND and Inclusion officers on the email shared here.